And I actually figured, to be honest with you, straight away that I was dead. And I didn't fight it. I didn't try to resist it. It's not like I wanted to die, but after all the way my life had been and the whole horror of the accident, I just kind of went with it because I felt safe instantly as well. I was greeted by these pulsating colours all around me. They were like pulsating colours of light, like ambers, greens, yellows and reds. And that calmed me down. So I kind of lifted myself off the hospital trolley to look around to try and see where I was. And I realised I was no longer on that hospital trolley. And I looked down and my hands, and I was laid out on this huge rock now. It was like a huge granite rock. The way I describe it best is like a medieval altar. It felt very comfortable to be laid out on. And despite the fact that I realised I was no longer clothed, I was just covered in this blue sheet. It was like a satin, sort of silky. And that also made me feel comfortable. And I just kind of closed my eyes and relaxed. Then I saw very bright light starting to come through my eyelids. So I opened my eyes, and as I did, I looked up, and there were these 3 symmetrical grids of white light slowly closing in towards me. This light was so intense that normally, the human eye would not be able to take that kind of light, but in this realm, I could. So I kept looking into this light because I knew that it was more than just light. It was like a healing energy, a healing force that was just covering the whole of my body. I lay back and closed my eyes and just bathed in this energy of healing light. Then I felt the presence of somebody close to me, and so I lifted my head and opened my eyes again, and just at my feet was this person, this androgynous being that was emanating light from within, and with this pure white blonde hair and a simple black contemporary t-shirt, nothing too ethereal that you might expect to see. And I said, hang on, I know you. I know your face, but I couldn't figure where from. And I was saying out loud, where do I know you from? I know you. And this person just smiled at me with a knowing smile. But I trusted it, and I felt that this person was actually here to guard me and guide me as to where I might be going next. So I laid back in complete faith in this person. A little later on, I felt the presence of more people, and either side of me were 2 female forms. The girl on my right was wearing a very simple brown dress with long brown hair, whereas the girl to my left was wearing like a very traditional sort of beautiful white outfit, because she was of more sort of American Indian, Brazilian or Asian Indian in appearance, and so it was more of a traditional dress, which was really beautiful. Their hands were slowly hovering over my body, and they were going over the contours of my body without actually touching it. The energy that was coming from their hands was really powerful. It was just causing like every sort of molecule of my body to start vibrating, basically with unconditional love. And I felt that they were not only healing the injuries that my body had just been through and the whole shock of the actual accident, I felt like they were healing all the years of hurt that we all carry with us, the baggage as we call it. And I felt they were taking all those layers of baggage off me, and they were just getting down to the pure essence of my soul. And it was a liberating feeling. It was like something I'd never experienced in my whole life, and it felt great, so of course I felt total faith in all this. Then I started to think about my family, because they'd all been really distressed. My mother had been in tears, It was all very difficult for them. So I thought, if I'm dead now, they're going to be really distraught. So I was worried about them. So I just kind of led my way over and tried to look down over the side of this big rock I was laid on, hoping to see them, but I couldn't see them at all. But what I did see was just something that was just even more amazing, because it was like a huge waterfall of stars. It was like a big arc of stars, and it was like looking at something the size of Niagara Falls or Victoria Falls, but instead of billions of tons of water cascading over the edge, it was millions of stars that were just flying over, shooting stars and all. It was just sparkling and really awe-inspiring. And I looked down and into this waterfall of stars, and as I looked, my eyes started to sort of focus, and I could see from one sort of galaxy into another. I was looking down into infinity. I started to see nebulous forming colours and beautiful formations. And I thought, wow, this is like, I'm not in a small darkened space that I thought I was initially. I'm actually in the universe itself. So I was very aware of being part of the universe, and that was really quite a powerful moment to feel that energy of being part of the universe. I felt very much a connection with where I was now rather than being back on Earth. I just felt a connection of this new realm, of this whole heavenly state or whatever, that it was just more, I didn't know what it was. I didn't actually say, okay, I'm in the universe, but it just felt like the universe was surrounding me, because I was just surrounded by all these beautiful formations of stars and nebulas. But I was aware that I was feeling that energetic pull, that energy source within me. At that point, I lay my head back, and the final part, I guess, of the whole experience of being out there was the most profound moment, because as I looked through the stars throughout the universe, I suddenly saw this tunnel of white light coming towards me. Well, I felt it before I even saw it. I felt this energy was almost like shaking my whole body, my whole being. And I thought, what's going on? And this beautiful tunnel of white light was coming closer and closer, and it was very vast. It had all these flames that were slowly circulating all the way around. Normally I would have been terrified by something like this because I didn't know what it was, but I knew what I was staring at here, I was being told, in fact, was the source of all creation. This was God, not God in the usual form that I'd always seen in my school books, the guy with the long beard on the ceiling of the Vatican in Rome. No, this was God in the form of this beautiful white light. And the white light, again, was an energy of love, unconditional love. And I felt that it totally encompassed me. I describe it as being ultra real. Because that's what it was. And it was at that point I was suddenly thrown back into my body. I was back in the hospital. All the energy of pain came rushing through. The light was suddenly gone from all that beautiful white light to the fluorescent strip. I was wheeled into theatre afterwards, and then for 8 hours under operation. And when I was in the hospital room, I was just thinking, oh my goodness, what has happened to me? Physically and mentally absorbing the fact that I've been under a train. That was a huge thing to deal with, But the biggest thing on my mind was this whole experience.